Hello everyone, Swanee and Cookie here with another Helldivers 2 video. Now the biggest update ever for Helldivers 2 went live yesterday, and if you missed it and want to know the patch notes, Cookie went over them in yesterday's video, so be sure to check out that one. But in today's video, we wanted to give our review of the update and go over how the community is reacting to the update. So Cookie, why don't you start us off? How are the player numbers looking?
Well, they're definitely up, quite significantly, not very surprisingly either. If you take a look at just the Steam charts, there's about 45,000 playing at the moment as of recording this video. It's gotten as high on Steam as about 68,000. Still nowhere near where it once was, obviously, but it's a massive increase considering we had gotten as low as, I think, 5,000 in the past weeks or so. So it's been very, very low. So that's a gigantic increase. This picture was taken from one of the Helldivers companion apps, which actually shows the active Helldivers on both Steam and PlayStation, and according to that, it's gotten almost to 100,000. So that's pretty massive and significant. And also on top of that is just how happy people are in general about the update, and you can see that just from the recent reviews on Steam, where it's been a massive uptick in positive reviews, and very massive, as you can see, about 4 times as many positive reviews as any kind of negative reviews. And if you take a look at just Reddit, it's just full of happy memes everywhere. Everybody is just posting how excited they are to be playing the game again, how great the buffs are, how much more fun the game is. I mean, that I can't get an official tally or anything necessarily out of what I've seen on Reddit and Discord, but I have seen very, very, very little negative posts and a ton of positive posts. So it definitely seems like the majority of the community is feeling very, very good about this update and really, really have enjoyed it.
I've not seen this much positive feedback from the community since the game launched. The Reddit hasn't been this active with people just praising the game in months. And that's pretty cool to see. Lately, it's been nothing but people just, having wish list posts and hate posts, and it got very popular to hate on the game for the longest time. And it's just refreshing to see that so many people are happy to play this game again.
Yeah, it's been a weird journey for Helldivers for sure. This entire year has been bizarre and all over the place. From the Sony issues of May, they had a big nice update in June that got everybody excited for a little bit, but then nothing happened for an entire month during their vacation. They come back with the Flame update, which pisses everybody off because it was a massive nerf, and ever since that Escalation of Freedom update, we've really been in this just nothing space of just sad, feels like the game is completely dead. There's even been a lot of talk about Space Marine 2 coming in and taking all the players away from Helldivers 2 and everything. So it's been a weird journey, but this definitely does seem like it's the first real sign of massive positivity we've had since at least overthrowing Sony. I mean, I think that was a big deal, but that didn't last for extremely long. So yeah, as far as the game itself, I haven't seen this much positivity for the actual gameplay probably since the game came out. I would say that's pretty accurate because it's the first update that makes people feel like the game is more fun than it was before the update, at least since the June one. And before that, I don't think there was ever an update that made us feel better about the game.
Mm-hmm. It got a little tiresome as a content creator too, just seeing every time we posted a video, the comments would be filled with people just oh, this game's dead. I don't care anymore. Why are you still making videos about it? And I've always loved Helldivers. That's why I've continued to make videos on Helldivers. I've wanted this game to succeed, so I'm glad that we stuck it out because now we're finally here and the game feels good. And, it sucks that this game had this big rough spot, but I'm kind of glad it happened because if the community wouldn't have had all this backlash and players wouldn't have left, we wouldn't have gotten this update. And I think this update is great, which is kind of segueing us now into our review portion of this video. I really love this update. I adore this update. I haven't had this much fun in months with Helldivers 2. It feels like it's a completely new game. And I think one of the reasons that I do love this update is because they addressed one of the major problems that I had with this game, and it's that I had to use the same weapons and stratagems over and over and over because everything else sucked. It's every single bug mission or bot mission, I would use the same setup. I would use either like a flamethrower. I would use the flashbang grenade or the stun grenade for everything. I would use the grenade pistol, and I would use the same like 3 stratagems. And now after this update, I can use so many different stratagems and so many different combinations. I can use the shotgun, and I can switch it up and use different heavy machine guns, or I could use the stalwart or the heavy machine gun, or I could use an airstrike. There's just so many different things I can play around with now, and that was my major concern, and they addressed that. They fixed it. Now everything feels balanced. I don't have to worry about, oh no, there's a charger. I don't have anything that can deal with it. I guess I'm just screwed and have to run away. Now I have like 6 or 7 different ways I can deal with a charger, and it feels amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I bring up the June update a lot, but one big problem that June update had was, even though it did buff things, you still ended up with the same problem that you're talking about, where you would go up against a charger and be like, crap, I don't have a charger killer. I guess I just have to give up. There's nothing else you can do, or hope that your friends kill it if you're playing with friends, because there's nothing else to do. There were only a few specific weapons that could really deal with chargers, and some of those weapons were almost useless for most other things. So you would literally waste an entire stratagem slot just in case you went across chargers, which some games you barely see a charger. You don't know. So, I mean, it was a weird risk, and it wasn't enjoyable, though. It didn't, like, bring a sense of fun. Like, oh, am I going to face a charger, or did I just waste a stratagem? Nobody wants to do that. So that's a big fix that they put in there. I agree. I think that's made a huge difference. One thing I've noticed, and I've seen a lot of people on Reddit and Discord talk about this too, is it does seem like the enemies are a lot harder too, in a weird way. Not in the way that the enemies individually are harder, but it seems like they're more aggressive. It seems like there's more of them pouring onto the battlefield, and I love it. I don't. That's not officially in the patch notes. It's not an official thing. I think Helldivers 2 devs have talked about, but it definitely seems like the game is just more intense and more fun, because you can kill stuff a lot easier, but that stuff seems so much more aggressive. The game is not easy. We played on a bunch of different difficulties yesterday. We did a couple games on level 10 and got massacred. I think we did good on the defend missions on level 10, but that's about it. Everything else, we just got massacred. Like, it's still incredibly hard, but you do feel the sense of fun. It's the fun kind of challenge, not the, well, I can't do anything, I'm just gonna die now challenge. It's the, oh, I have a chance, oh, they got me. That's the kind of fun that you want to have in this game, and it definitely still felt like a challenge. I didn't get to the end of the game like, wow, I felt like I didn't do anything, or I felt like nothing happened. And I wouldn't even say that I felt like a bloodthirsty overlord dominating the battlefield either. Like, there was still a lot of challenge in the game. So I don't know exactly what happened there, or if anything really changed, but it definitely felt like the enemies were a lot tougher and a lot more aggressive and harder to, I don't know how to say it, harder to deal with, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense.
I think that was a lot of people's concern with this update, is if they're going to buff everything, is the game going to get way easier? And there was this chunk of the community that was like, I play on Helldive 10 every single match. The game's already too easy for me. And you know, the devs have already addressed this, and they said they're going to work on adding harder difficulty modes for those like super dedicated players. But there's obviously a huge disconnect. Like, there's those tryhards that think Helldive 10 is super easy and they want the game to be as hard as possible. Well, their version of the game had 5,000 active players, and the version we got yesterday had almost 100,000 active players. So
right.
Obviously, the game, there's a disconnect there, and people would much prefer the current version we have over the version we had 2 days ago. So I'm glad to see that, yeah, the game is still very difficult. Like you said, we were playing on Helldive 10, and we were getting our butts kicked, and it by no means has gotten super easy. So that's not really a concern, and I'm glad that they listened. I mean, they took so much feedback over the past couple months that I saw from Reddit, from Discord. They talked about like the Chargers and the Biotitans. Now you can kill a Biotitan if you shoot it enough in the stomach. That's a complaint that people had. And I don't know, it's just nice to see that these devs took a step back, actually listened to their player base, and then the player base came back. That's how it should be. I've seen nothing but negative comments these past couple months of all these devs don't listen. They're gonna just nerf everything after they buff everything. There's no point in playing. They're just gonna nerf everything again. And then the devs had that update video that was like a half an hour long, and you can tell that they really love this game. They listened to the feedback, and they made some really good changes, and the player numbers show that.
This is quite a very unique community. I think we talked about this before, but Helldivers 2 has so much passion, and that is why you see so much hatred too. You know, that goes both ways. Like, it's a very passionate fan base. But the thing about a passionate fan base is that when you show up for them, they come back. They'll continue to play the game. I mean, it's pretty unusual for a game to revive off of one update. I don't think that happens that often. Now, I'm not saying that's fully revived. I mean, obviously, we're not back to 500,000 people on Steam, but it's a massive uptick. I mean, from like 5,000 to 70,000 in one day. That's pretty massive. So it's a very passionate fan base, and they will tell you when you screw up, and they'll tell you when you get it right. And Helldivers 2 has definitely shown that. I mean, it's been one of the more passionate video game fan bases I've ever been a part of. Probably the most, to be honest, in my time of being part of like video game fan bases. It's pretty neat to see, and they're very vocal, and they got what they wanted, and the devs did the right thing on this one. And overall, I would say this is a fantastic update, and I'm enjoying the game a lot more, as much as I did back in March. I don't think I've enjoyed the game this much since probably that time. So it is perfectly put together. If I had any gripe, the only gripe I would say is the weapons that didn't get buffed are now totally useless. Not I shouldn't say not all of them, but the ones that, like the Purifier, the ones that weren't very good before are now extremely bad. So there is another patch coming potentially in 30 days. I hope maybe some of those other things get some love, like the throwing knife, the Purifier, some random guns like that could use some love. But that is a huge nitpick, because in general, I love this update.
And I want to say one of the things I'm most excited for now that we're at this point with this update is that hopefully going forward now is just going to be nothing but new stuff, new positive updates, because we got this game in a good state. Everybody's happy. Now they can build off of this. The past like 3 months, it's been nothing but ups and downs, and they over-nerfed something. They tried to buff it to make it better, and it was nothing but pissing people off. Hopefully, it can just snowball effect, and we just keep going up and up and up and up and up, and then they had a lot of content that was put on the back burner so they could fix the game. Now, hopefully, we'll get that content starting to come out pretty often and regularly, instead of waiting months at a time before we get anything new. So that's my hope, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, they should really have it in a place now where, okay, let's just add stuff now. The game is good. Game plays well. Let's just add stuff. And I'm sure they'll make missteps in the future, but they just need to remember what's happening right now and aim for that in the future going forward. As long as they do that, they should be good to go. So we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, it's a good place right now.
It feels good. I've been doing my testing videos that I've been working on, and just testing out all the different weapons and stratagems after this update. It's felt so fun just to try out everything, because everything feels good. I don't really have any complaints. There's not been a single thing I've tested where I'm like, oh man, this still sucks. So that's exciting. I love this update. That's pretty much going to do it for our thoughts on this update. That's our review of it. Let us know what you guys think of this update down in the comment section down below. If you guys are new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications, that way we don't miss out on any future videos. And if you guys made it this far into the video, consider giving it a thumbs up, because it helps us out in the algorithm. It helps show our video to new people. And that's going to do it for us, and we will talk to you guys next time. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.